this is Larry the Barber Man. I'm here at Thai Barber Shop with Frank Reimer. Before interviewing him, we're going to do a quick comparison on the Oster fast feed and the Andis Trendsetter, both being pivot motored clippers. At the moment, most barbers in the UK aren't using the fast feed and they're not aware of the fact that the Andis Trendsetter can do virtually the same job. Frank's been using them for 2 months side by side, and I just want to get his feedback on both machines. So Frank, as I understand it, both of these, the fast feed in particular is one of your go-to machines. Tell me why you use this particular machine.
Right, well, the Oster fast feed for me is my favourite clipper I've ever used. And that's because it's an absolute powerhouse. It just cuts through everything. I mean, sometimes there's a little bit of a snag on the clipper between the 0.5 and the 0, but that's like a little adjustment and that tends to go away pretty quickly. But yeah, I've always used it, and the thing is as well with me, I find that when I use a lot of clippers, they tend to break down a lot. You can, every time I've used, I mean, I'm not going to go into brands and stuff obviously, but certain clippers I use, I have to replace them every kind of 4 or 5 months. And that's no good for when you're trying to kind of save money, or you need a clipper, you need a tool that's going to last you like a lifetime. And I've been using, I used the same set of fast feeds for 3 years, and they only broke because I dropped them. Like that was the only reason that the clipper broke. Recently, my friend Matt Robinson up in Rugby sent me another set as a present, and they're the same set that I had before, and still working and even he said these ones are about 4 or 5 years old and they're still working like they're brand new. So that's always been my reason why I've gone to this kind of clipper. The Trendsetter, and I've been using that for the last 2 months. There's not a lot of difference between the two clippers, I have to admit. The weight is actually a tiny bit lighter on the Trendsetter. I do prefer a little bit of a heavier clipper, but it's also quite nice because obviously if you're clippering all day long, you're doing like 14 to 19 haircuts a day. Doing that motion of clippering all day does actually kind of wear thin on your arm a little bit, so having a lighter machine is quite nice. The blade's a little bit thicker on the Trendsetter, I've noticed, than it is on the fast feed, the top blade. So if the two differences on this one is this one's got a finer top blade, this one's got a slightly thicker one. I'm no mechanic, but for me, I feel that this one cuts through longer hair a bit better. I still prefer fading with this one, but if I'm going to kind of take off long locks, this is probably what I'm going to go through it with, because they've both got such a slow motor, they just tend to tear through the hair very easily. They're very powerful. That's the only thing I can really say about them, really. I mean, they're both so similar. It's quite hard to really compare the two when they're both quite well matched.
Okay, so in terms of how to compare them, obviously with the fast feed there is an investment involved in the converter, whereas the Trendsetter is UK ready.
Yeah, I mean the thing is as well is I've actually been trying to go back to using UK clippers, because I find with the North American plug, and I'm sure a lot of Brits will find this, it doesn't tend to happen so much with North American plugs when you're over there, because they're probably built for it, and we just get imported stuff when we're here. I find with a North American 2-pin that the pins move after a couple of years or like a couple of months, and what happens is you have to end up bending them to make the plug actually stay in the socket, which can be a bit of a pain in the arse when you're clippering all day, because you're constantly having to bend down and put the plug back in the wall, whereas a 3-pin from the UK obviously locks into the wall so much better. So that is a good upside to the Trendsetter, is the fact that it is UK ready. I mean, I'm still always going to use a set of fast feeds. I'm never going to stop using those, but they're definitely a good match. And I do really like the styling, actually, because it looks quite old school, just being in a plain chrome. Like I've gone on to using like a chrome hairdryer. Paul's just got a new set of Babyliss clippers because they look great. They're chrome and stuff. It just looks really old-fashioned. So I do like that. And they've also got the padded thumb piece on them as well, so you've got a good grip on there. They're a little bit slimmer than these as well. But I mean, as a motor, they both work pretty damn well. I like them, and the arm on the lever on the Trendsetter is actually really good because it's quite stiff, so you don't find yourself doing a 0 and then slipping to a 0.5 or vice versa. So that's quite good.
Okay, so just to wrap this up, because we've got to do an interview now. Marks out of 10 for your fast feed. Your old faithful.
9 out of 10 for me on those, and I'll give the Trendsetter an 8. Just because the fast feeds are still my favourite, but if you're going to get a UK 3-pin,
UK 3-pin pivot motor.
if you're going to get a UK pivot motor, like 3-pin plug, those are the ones. Because the thing is as well, you have to remember, if you're going to be buying the fast feeds, you're also going to have to buy adapters and converters and all that kind of stuff. So if you're going to save some money and get a great motor, I can guarantee that's going to last you a few years, that clipper.
Frank Reimer, thank you very much for your honest review on both the Andis Trendsetter and the Oster fast feed. Thank you very much.
No worries.